Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Yeah, we're on at a weird time. A weird time. It's like 10:30. When did I ever do a 10:30 show? Who knows? But it's been a while. Mamma Mia, good to see you. Yeah, everyone just doesn't like the channel anymore. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. They're probably confused. They probably don't check the channel until like midnight or in the morning. And they're probably like, oh, Ping's not going to be on for like another 3 hours. Yeah, Hey Rachel, good to see you. She is feeling better, and she's actually getting discharged now. She's leaving hospital right now. Hey, good to see you. Hey, Red Like Wine. That's okay. Yeah, Trish contacted me this morning saying that could I fill in at 10:30, and I said, yeah, sure, I could do that. All right, let me get set up. Let me get set up. Let me get set up. How you all going on a Thursday? You ready for some interesting true crime? Interesting true crime? I've got some stuff here. We got so David Pearce, the David Pearce trial, very interesting. I actually broke that story. I don't even know. It must have been maybe when me and Amy were doing a show together, like when we used to have a channel. And I broke that story on air. I might have been the only channel on YouTube covering it. And there was these girls, 2 girls. They had been to a rave. They went back to a dude's house, and then they suddenly appeared at 2 different hospitals. Well, they arrested that guy. His name's David, and he is an entertainment professional, whatever that means. Who knows what that means? That's like when people give themselves titles that don't mean anything. Um, But he's on trial for this, and he's been trying to paint himself as this sort of like, you know, weekend raver who heads out on the scene and lets people come back to his house because he's such a generous guy. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. We'll talk about more about it, I promise. Mama Mia says, how is Amy? Do you hear from her? I do hear from Amy frequently. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. But I can tell you that I do hear from her. If Amy wants to talk on her behalf, Amy will talk on her behalf. But I can tell you that I do hear from her. Used to be more often, recently not as much. Yes, it's good she's coming home. It is true. In that pic, he looks like quite a bit of drug. That's not David. These are the 2 other people. Sorry, I shouldn't have talked about a different case while I had a different article up. These 2 people that you see on the screen right here, these are the 2 people who were arrested over that caravan full of explosives in New South Wales in Australia. This is not David Pearce at all. Yeah, so this is Tammy Ferrugia and her partner Scott Marshall, and they were named in search warrants connected to the caravan stuffed with explosives containing a list of Jewish synagogues. So they believe this might have been an anti-Semitic attack, but they're not sure because police said it's very odd to find something like this with all the instructions located inside. And it just seemed like maybe it was something just to stir up the community, maybe. But they're saying that had that blast gone off, and they did not find a detonator, so they only found the explosive, no detonator. If they had blown that explosive up, it would have been a 40-meter wide explosion. So pretty big, probably about as big as your normal house, about, a normal size house or, a church or something. Pretty big property, and it would have hurt a lot of people. But today, this is actually their apartment. This here, the cops came over and decided to give them a wake up call. Actually, they're in jail, so no one's at the apartment. But they they decided to force entry, so they just kicked the door in. That's what the cops do here. They just kick your door in when they want something. especially when you've got the Raptor Squad or the Terror Squad looking for you. They'll just beat your door in. Here, this is them arriving at their apartment, apparently. If I can play it. There you go. You can see the cops out there. That's a lot of police. Look at them all, like ants, arriving at the house. Oh, there's another one. That must have been after they got in. Oh, it jumps in time. Oh, sniffer dog. Dude in a Tyvek suit. Some random guy talking on a phone. Very, very riveting. It's an inside look. There you go. Then they leave. They're like, we're done here. We didn't find any explosive. We're going to leave. Yeah, so these two people were arrested. They are, as far as I know, in jail. But the police described them in this terror plot as, you know, on the outside, in the periphery. They're not the center of the investigation. What they're trying to do is find out who is in the center of the investigation and not on the periphery of it. So I I don't know what to tell you except for if you got yourself caught up in something like this, you must have taken a very wrong turn in life. A very wrong turn. To be caught up in what could, if this, I heard a thing this morning that said, if this explosion had gone off at a church, it would have been the largest terror attack on Australian soil ever. It would have just been the biggest thing that's ever happened here. It would have been like just massive. So many people would have died. Hey penguin, quack quack. Is we like you like touch flippers like this? You go. Yeah, let me see. Oh yeah, let me say hello to everyone, and we'll get into this a bit more. Marilyn Landis, good to see you. Mama Mia, Marlene Clausen, Danny Mitchell, the chat celebrity, is here. Everyone, get the red carpet, get the streamers, get the confetti. Danny is here. April, how are you? Good to see you. Nana, yeah, I'm glad it didn't happen too. That would have been freaking terrible. Rachel said that whole thing is very strange to me. It's a bit odd to me too. Hey, Mamma Mia. Natasha's here. Who else did I miss? Red like wine. Hey, my friend. Marilyn Landis, Marlene Clausen, April B. Rachel's here. I hate mornings. Hey, my friend. Lindy. Hey, Lindy. Wendy R. Tharvy's here. All right. She's doing well. She's actually on her way home now. She's on her way here right now. Well, she's coming here. I thought she was going to go to her mum's apartment, but she's coming here. Just in time. Just in time. That's right. Hey, Andrew. Good to see you. Yeah, it'll be good to have her home. Hey, JDR. By the way, JDR, glad I caught you. Thank you very much for your donation. I really appreciate it. That is very kind of you. That came through yesterday. Yesterday? Yeah. Yesterday. And Nick as well, if you're out there. Thank you very much. Hey Texas, how's the remodeling going? Hope it's going well. All right. You guys hear that? That was weird. Let's get into it. So we may get disturbed a couple of times because I got to let her in and there's a package coming for her. So we may get stopped a couple of times. Normally I don't like doing that during the show. But yeah, Tammy and Scott, these are these two people here. Some of their family have come out in the papers today. So Tammy's brother was speaking to a paper today and he's like, "Oh, she's had her issues with drugs and she's had a lot of issues and problems, but for her to be involved in a terrorist attack, someone must be like paying her. She doesn't deserve to be in jail because she's just a misunderstood type of person." I think your brother's always going to say that about you. I don't think he's going to be like, "Yeah, lock her up. She was definitely going to blow up everything." I don't think your brother's going to say that about you. I don't think he's going to be like, "Yes, keep her in there, please." All right. So another article came out of the paper today. I'll show you this. They say a former company director charged over a large scale criminal rebirthing operation is one of the people on the periphery of the Dural Caravan terror plot who has been arrested. So this is a guy, his name is Simon Lance Nichols. He's 39 and he was named alongside Tammy and Scott on a warrant for a counter-terror raid after a caravan containing explosives, as well as information about different synagogues around Sydney, were discovered earlier this month. They say Nichols, a former company director in the Alexandra based Easy Lift Proprietary Limited, was arrested by Organised Crime Squad officers on January 2nd and is facing a slate of charges relating to so called kill cars, which can be used in gangland hits. Now, if you don't know what that is, we've done them a few times on this channel. If you remember the organized crime assassinations that I have showed you, and you know how we're always like, "Oh, there's a burning car. That's the telltale sign of a gangland hit in Australia." He was they're alleging he is the one giving these vehicles to these underworld people to commit these type of assassinations. So they say investigators allege he warehoused more than half a dozen stolen cars in Fairfield East over several months last year. Police say they also found jerry cans inside a number of cars and 15 stolen number plates velcroed onto vehicles. The arrest follows an unexplained wealth investigation last year that led to the seizure of 8 cars last August. So, unexplained wealth is where you seem to have property or money in your bank or on you or whatever that if the ATO came to you and said, how are you getting this money and how are you buying property or vehicles or brand new cars, whatever, and you can't show them a paper trail, they can charge you with unexplained wealth and basically do you for proceeds of crime. And then you'll get charged with other things and whatever you're into, and you'll owe money to the ATO, and you're really, really in a lot of trouble. And they said here in a media release at the time, organized crime boss Detective Superintendent Peter Peter Foe, all right, said stolen vehicles were primed for serious criminal activities, including murders and shootings, and differed from the high performance vehicles typically seized in such investigations. So maybe recently, some of these vehicles that have been burnt or whatever after assassination attempts, maybe they're starting to be looked for. Like the cops know, hey, if we see a really expensive, BMW or Mercedes, it's being driven by someone we know as a target. Maybe like it's too high profile, so they're trying to use different types of cars. Maybe they said these are not the standard high performance kill cars we normally seize. These cars are meant to hide in our community and allow criminals to avoid the consequences of their evil intent. Nichols was refused bail in connection to the kill car charges and remains on remand. He has not been charged over the explosive laden caravan for which the police investigation is ongoing. So we're back to Ferrugia, that woman, arrested 3 weeks after Nichols. She was charged over her alleged role in an anti Semitic attack on Woolara's Magny Street in December, in which multiple houses were graffitied with death to Israel, kill Israel, and a stolen car was torched. The 34-year-old allegedly obtained 5 jerry cans, having sought them from local Facebook groups before the incident. Investigators have also alleged she was a passenger in a stolen Mitsubishi ASX that was driven to a meeting point. She has been charged with participating in a criminal group, being an accessory before the fact to destroy or damage property, and being in a stolen car. Here is one of the cars they actually seized. last year. So that's a BMW. I mean, it's a pretty good car. I know what you mean. Like, it's not a sports car. It's not high performance. It's a freaking BMW. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, it's not an M class BMW, so it's not high performance. Still a BMW. Still like 80 to 100 grand. You know, a lot of money. They say court documents seen by the Herald allege that Ferrugia was a participant in a criminal group with her partner Marshall and one other person, probably the guy we just read about. She has not been charged in relation to the caravan, but remains on remand due to appear in a Liverpool local court next week. They say Marshall was picked up by investigators on Christmas Eve. Oh, what a Christmas present! And charged over allegations of possessing knuckle dusters, stolen goods in a Liverpool unit the couple had shared for the past half a year. He remains in custody and has not been charged in relation to the caravan either, or any anti Semitic attacks or graffiti, despite being listed on Ferrugia's court documents as participant in a criminal group. He's due to return to court in March. So these people have all been picked up. At least one of them has already committed an anti Semitic attack by doing this graffiti and then burning a car. Very odd. Why would you waste a car for that? Yeah, here she is. Here's Ferrugia here. Here's Marshall and a small child who has been blurred. And then you got this other guy who apparently supplies cars to the criminal underworld, wanting to do crimes, wanting to kill people, robberies, smash and enters, whatever. So, what do they have to do with this caravan? And who is funding it? Could it be the guy with the cars? He has a lot of money that can't be accounted for. Has he been funding it? Who's funding this operation? That's what they need to find out. Here you go. There's that car, and there's the jerry can, the plastic jerry can that Ferrugia was asking people for on Facebook, like a Facebook swap and buy group. She was asking for it on that group. And there you go. You see it in the cars that this other fella owned. He owned all these stolen vehicles that he rented out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there, ta-da, a gas can that you guys would call it. So, yeah, very concerning considering what could have happened if they actually were clever enough to put it all together and take that caravan somewhere and actually detonate it. A 40-meter wide explosion. It's not a tiny thing. It would do a lot of damage, a lot of damage. So pretty yeah, real winners. That's right. Red Like Wine says my neighbors bought their daughter a BMW for high school graduation. High school, yeah, she's going to get like a McLaren when she gets out of college. Let's see. We should start a gang. You can, but Marlon Clausen has to be the leader and the code name. Danny, thank you very much. I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you. It is very kind to gift 2 memberships to people. It is awesome. Thank you. Oh, Andrew got one? Good work, Andrew. Who else got one? I don't know. Tell me who the other person was so I can. It doesn't show us on StreamYard. Um, you don't even know what that is. A McLaren? It's a very, very expensive car. They use them for like racing and they're very pricey. You'll see all the rappers have them. All the rappers have a McLaren. Yeah, there you go. McLaren. Pretty nice car if you can afford it. What's going on? The fuck? Hold on, guys. Okay. I don't know, there's some delay in her coming home. She'll be here eventually. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, very fast, cost a lot of money. Oh, JDR got one? Oh, that's good, that's good. Glad JDR got one. Oh, sorry, Mrs. Ping's, mum is being a typical mum and being annoying. She's apparently not letting her go home because she wants to fill out all this paperwork or whatever. And Mrs. Ping's like, I can do that at home. I'm an adult. And her mum's like, no, 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 let's stay at the hospital and we'll do it in the bed here. She's like, I just want to go home. April B says it looks too weird to me. Kind of looks like a Corvette with the back stretched out. A little bit. Hey, Leisha, how are you? Blaze says when my son was in college, his roommate got a BMW for his birthday. It was a stick shift, and the kid was so mad. My son was the official driver because the kid couldn't learn to use it in NYC traffic. You just go to like a parking lot at night and you just drive around and you learn. That's how we teach children in Australia. We just take them to a parking lot, after the shops close and let them drive around until they learn it. Yeah, that's right. Mother-in-law problems, that's right. Yeah, yeah, so these are rear engined, like a Porsche. A Porsche, no, wait, is a Porsche? Yeah, Porsche has an engine in the back. They call them like mid-engine or rear, and it's not in the front. This will probably be the boot at the front here. So your actual storage location is in the front, not the back. So there you go. All right. So there's your update on the terrorism investigation in Sydney, but there really hasn't been much. The cops are being very quiet, very quiet. And then the Sydney Morning Herald. I know this. Yeah, they're saying police believe caravan plot linked to orchestrated anti-Semitic attacks as puppet masters pull the strings. So who are they though? That's what they've got to figure out. Who are these people funding and pulling these so-called puppet strings? They say police believe an apparent plot an apparent plot to target a Sydney synagogue with mining explosives is linked to months of orchestrated anti-Semitic attacks as authorities scramble to make arrests amid calls to contain a growing threat to the city's Jewish community. Hmm. Who would have the money and like originally they said it may be coming from overseas, but that's a lot of money to go and screw up Australia or Sydney. It's who's funding this? Because you got to pay people quite a bit of money. You can't be like, here's $100. Go get a caravan and blow it up. Like it's got to be like 50 grand, 20 grand. It's got to be some money. They said possible targets, which police on Thursday declined to publicly name, were first identified by Sky News during a program called Shari on Thursday night. People associated with the venues were informed about the link to the caravan discovery earlier that day. It's still uncertain whether the explosives were ever bound for either location or any location. So they're not sure whether they were actually ever going to put this caravan into use. They don't know. They say several people on the periphery of the plot, which was uncovered on January 19 at a Dural property in Sydney's northwest, are in custody facing unrelated charges. Unrelated. I like that. Do you? So, it so happens that all these people involved in this mystery caravan were all just randomly arrested like a month before. Pretty random, right? Just just magically arrested on, random charges, nothing to do with the caravan. It almost says to me like they were like, find anything to hold them, find anything to keep them in jail. They said Jewish groups said it was clear those apprehended were not the ringleaders. Yeah, that seems about right. And warned the community was still unsafe until the puppet masters were hunted down by state and federal counter-terror task force. So, yeah, that's what they're doing right now, and that's why they kept it quiet for almost 2 weeks. They didn't want the public finding out so that the counter-terror, group had the upper hand and didn't want the news of the caravan out there because then the people can start running. Then people start hiding, scattering, getting out of the way, and they wanted to keep it quiet. And then somehow the Daily Telegraph got a leak, got some information, and it got to the public. And it got to the public earlier than what the police wanted. They were going to keep it quiet for a few more days, hoping to track down whoever these main people are. Terrorism funding? It could be. April says, when I was a kid, I shared a car with my brother. Right. Let's see. Sean says, Farugia is not a background that sides with Islam, strange as I grew up with many of them. It sounds Lebanese. It sounds like Lebanese last name. Hold on a sec, guys. Blaze says, is the Jewish community there Orthodox or Hasidic? I don't know. I'm not Jewish. I know that we do have Orthodox, and I'm sure we have the other the other type as well. I don't know which ones the churches belong to, or I don't know, but I know that I have seen the men, like the men who are Orthodox, that wear, they wear the hat and they have the long hair and the beard, and they wear the same clothes. I have seen them before, um, and I think we probably have the other one as well. I don't know. JDR says Nazis have money from drug smuggling and other crimes. Yeah, they do. Red Like Wine says, my sister-in-law has never bought a car in her life. She never had a car when she was dating my brother. Oh, shit. I thought for a second there, you're like, my sister is dating my brother. I was like, that's weird. Why did you type that in the chat? Like, that's not something I would be telling people about. I wouldn't be advertising that my sister it was dating my brother. I'd be like, I get that the South is a bit weird, but, you know, you don't advertise this type of thing. But I get it now. Sister-in-law. Okay. Uh, yeah, so you had to buy your own car. Yeah, I get it. She deserves no respect. That's right. We mispronounce people who don't deserve correction. That's right. That's what we do here, Sean. We only correct people who deserve it. If they're victims or good people, then we'll go back and say their name correctly. If they're bad people, then we don't do that. We just keep going with the mispronunciation. All right, all right, all right. That's it for that one. If we learn more about who these so-called puppet masters are, I will let you know. But right now, it's very quiet. There's since the press conference a couple of nights ago. There's really not been much more come out. A little bit about the background of each of these people, but that's about it. No real telling us what's actually going on in the investigation. They're keeping it super quiet, and I don't know. We'll have to see where it goes. Let's see here. What are you guys talking about? Wait, that's not it. All right. I don't know what they're talking about. Let's talk about the one in the title because yeah, one of my favorite shows I ever did was on the early investigation into these two women, and we did a number of shows on it back then. and I thought I would show you a little bit. We're not gonna watch my old, live shows, they're terrible. I will never do that to you. But I will go to here. So it was Christy Giles. That was one of the victims. Here's a photo of her. This is from the LA Times. There's one, quite an attractive young lady. So she died after men in a car with no license plates dropped her off at a hospital in Culver City, California in 2021. They just dumped her at a hospital, like the movie Bad Boys. You know Bad Boys 2? You know how the guy ODs in the club in the opening scene and they take him in the fake ambulance and dump him outside of a hospital? Very much like that. Very much like that. They just took her from the apartment with a car with no plates on it and dumped her outside of a hospital. And yeah. But here's what he says. When David Pearce found two women unconscious in his apartment around 5 a.m., um, he said at first he didn't think much of it, and he tried to say in court that he tried to be a really good guy. He put them to bed, he put them on their side in the recovery position, even gave them a bucket in case they needed to throw up. And then as time went on, he was like, hey, these women aren't waking up. But at no time did he call 911. At no time did he call for an ambulance. Instead, he tried CPR on at least one of them, and then the other one he thought was already dead. So he took her in a car. Her name was Hilda, I'm pretty sure, and just dumped her. Just dumped her at a hospital, and then went to check on Christy and saw that she wasn't waking up either. Started CPR on her, and then went, "Oh yeah, she's not waking up either. Let's dump her at a hospital as well." And this is what they're saying here. Apparently, they had all gone out with Pearce and his roommates to a warehouse rave that involved heavy cocaine use. Pearce said he helped the unconscious women to bed, placing them on their sides with water and a trash can in case they needed to vomit, and then went to sleep. Nearly 12 hours went by, neither woman woke up. Pearce said he grew concerned and repeatedly checked on them, eventually taking Giles uh, I can't remember if I'm saying that right. I'll check on it in a second. To an area hospital. When he got back to his Olympic Boulevard apartment, the other woman was still unconscious. He said he started doing CPR, but at no point called 911. He said she was responding to chest compressions. She was responding to mouth in a positive way. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know how much drugs they did. So why would you leave them for 12 hours? If they're already showing signs of not waking up and being unconscious, why would you leave them in a bed for half a day? Uh, if I remember correctly, by the time they got the last girl to hospital, it was like 18 hours after they got back to that apartment, almost 24 hours. That is a long time for someone to like not be conscious. You would be worried way before then. It is really distressing to hear what he thinks happened. According to this news article from the LA Times, against the advice of his attorney, Pearce had taken the stand in his own defense this week. Prosecutors have accused him of providing fatal doses of narcotics to both women, then failing to get them proper medical aid. So, from what I understand, and I hope I'm getting this right, they are accused. Yeah. So, yeah, they're accusing him of giving them fentanyl and GHB. That is a very bad combination, an extremely bad, especially if they had been drinking as well. So we know that fentanyl is a downer, it's an opioid. GHB is a respiratory system depressant. So if you have GHB and fentanyl, there's a good chance you're probably going to die. because the GHB lowers your heart rate and your breathing very dramatically, especially if you have slightly too much. There is an effect called blowing out, is what we used to call it, where you have too much GHB and you basically go into almost a coma. It's almost like you're comatose. And it's you can do that just on GHB. You don't need anything else. You can do that if you just have. So the way GHB is measured most times is per mil, and depending on how pure it is, you can have like 1.2 mil, 1.4 mil, very small amounts, and the point, like point 0.2, point 0.4, point 0.6, point 0.8, that type of thing, that is the difference between having a great time and snoring on a couch because you're unconscious. And you pair that with another opioid and alcohol, maybe some other drugs like cocaine, you're really asking for a lot of trouble. It's really not a good combination at all. They say on the night, prosecutors say Pearce served the two women a deadly batch of cocaine. Pearce said he had met them in a drug room at a rave. He said people were chopping up drugs, doing bumps, exchanging or handing drugs to each other. It was clearly designated as the area where people were getting high. Eventually, the group went back to his apartment, uh, and they testified. Someone testified that Pierce pulled out a batch of cocaine that burned. Okay, that burned his nostrils so bad that he actually ate charcoal tablets the next day to try and get it out of his system. That's not how that works. You just threw up for like no reason. What a weird idea. Charcoal tablets over 12 hours later after snorting drugs? Where do they teach biology in high school? Um it won't work because it would have already metabolized. They're saying here apparently the two women did lines from the same batch of cocaine and never recovered. Yeah, I read that they think it might be fentanyl. They're saying here Pierce discounted his version of events. This is Anne's batch. I'm probably pronouncing that very wrong. You can blame me later. Version of events on the stand that you just heard, saying he didn't provide the women or him any drugs in his apartment. Court records show the two women also had their own narcotics in their possession at the rave. Yeah, so pretty brutal. I mean, that is a weird combination of different uppers, downers, a lot of downers, and like one upper. You're asking to be in a coma by the end of the weekend. They're saying that that same person testified last week that Pierce was trying to discourage anyone from taking the women to hospital because he was worried about his own criminal liability. Videos from two hospitals also show his car did not have its license plates attached when he drove the women to the medical facilities. Like it almost reads of something out of a movie. Let's take the plates off the car, then dump the cadavers at the hospital. It's brutal. I I I don't even know where you go with this. Y- You can't you can't claim to be this caring person that put these ladies in bed and put them in the recovery position and gave them a bin to throw up in and some water and then be like, yeah, so we shoved the cadavers in the car and then drove around LA until we found a hospital which was quiet enough where we could dump their bodies. Like those two things don't play together. And it shows very different sides of what he's trying to convey here. All right, guys, hold on. What is going on? Sorry, someone's pinging me. Okay. All right. Sorry, it's the courier for Mrs. Ping. Sean says, and these people are probably anti-vaxxers. I'm sure he has a deviated septum. Maybe. Psychopath? Yeah, it could be. Rachel said, of course he's going to say they had their own. No, they really did. They had their own drugs. He's a monster for not getting them help sooner. I think the liability comes to where if you take what he says for the truth, his liability is when he put them into bed when they were already unconscious. Being a drug user himself, he would have had to have already known that if you're unconscious in this particular, whatever, this is a very risky thing to do because it's so easy for people to stop breathing, choke on their own vomit or saliva, and they start to aspirate. It's very high risk. So something tells me like if I was reading over this document of his alleged timeline, I would say that he was hoping someone else would discover the bodies of the two women and then take the accountability from him and not have to put it on himself. Because I that's my personal thing as well. I think that's probably what happened. Because who waits over what I think it was 18 hours by the time the second woman got to hospital? Who waits that long? 18 hours for someone that can't gain consciousness? That is bonkers, bonkers. Yes, it is. You were our official swear word the other night. Put your hand up if you would like to be tonight's swear word for the show. Who are we going to do tonight? Who would like to be our official surrogate swear word for the show? We can't, well, we can't use Amy 007. That's a very long thing to say every time you want to say like F you. That's a very long word. Who we got? Who we got? Who we got? We need something you can shout out of a car, and people would be so confused that they'd just drive away in a panic because they'd be like, "What did they say? What was that? Did they just say Marlene Clausen?" All right, all right. Give me a second. I need a drink. Hold on. I'm not pronouncing words right because I'm starting to get dehydrated. Hold on. You want to be at Lisa? We could do that. All right. Lisa Foster can be the swear word for tonight because I think you could yell that out of a window in some sort of road rage incident and just yell at someone, Lisa Foster, and they'll just be like, "What? What are you talking about?" And they'll be so embarrassed by you yelling this random word at them that they'll just instantly back down and leave. That's exactly what'll happen. All right. I feel like we're about to get interrupted. I feel like my courier is here. What the hell just happened? Okay, he must be here. All right, give me a sec. I have to go pick this up and I'll be back. Entertain yourself. Do we have the music? Is the music here anymore? Oh, yeah, we got music. There we go. No, that's terrible. I'm not playing that. All right, I'll just be back. Entertain yourselves. Talk about swear words. Alright, I'm not sure what happened. He was here. It says on the tracking that he's supposed to be right here. I went outside, he's not there, so I don't know. He'll be here eventually. Um, Tharvi says tomorrow is my husband's last day of work, no bites for a new job. I wish we could help you somehow, Tharvi, but I get you want to keep your privacy. So, by the way, I want to say thank you to the few people who I won't name, but thank you to the people who helped glitter. I appreciate that. Yeah, apparently, I don't know how much I can tell you, so just yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate it. Ask Glitter for more information about what is going on. She might post something on her thing, on her what it was link. Let me check if she has or not. She hasn't edited it, but yeah, yes. Thank you to the nice people. It's very kind. If she wants to tell you more, she'll tell you more. But it was very kind. All right, Lisa Foster. What? Foster beer? Ain't no one drink that. Tharvi says I'm not working either. He's got a good severance package. We have to pay for medical. Hey, you could be like a federal worker who gets like 7 months of pay. Those people are getting like all that back pay if they leave their job next week for federal employees. Oh, it was? I could see it from my house. I could see the lithium fire. We drove past it on the way to Monash last night. It was all closed off and had cops there. Yeah, there was a big lithium battery fire in my suburb yesterday. This huge fire. It was bonkers. Um, Thavi, yeah, I wish your husband luck, Thavi. I really do. Yeah, I hope the universe will provide for Thavi. All right, let's get back to this. Let's get back and hope I don't get interrupted by the courier again. Apparently, he's just gone missing. All right, let's talk about more about this. And I've got some more from the LA Times. Dead girls don't talk. They say alleged R-worders left drugged LA women to die, according to a witness. There's one of the girls, very, very pretty. That's Christy. They say Michael said he had been snorting cocaine with David for hours, but he knew something was wrong with the last bump he took. After a day spent filming for a documentary Pearce was supposedly producing, the pair went out to a Koreatown nightclub, then an East LA warehouse rave, where Michael said they met two young women. That was Christy and Hilda. The two women later died from drug overdoses, with Pearce now standing trial, charged with murder. Uh, Charged with murder in their deaths, along with several R word. Prosecutors say he committed between 2007 and 2021. Back when this first broke, and it was so their bodies were dumped, and the investigation actually went on for a period of time. A couple of weeks later, he ended up being interviewed, and then finally charged with the crimes. It came out that his name had been doing the rounds on, I don't know what you want to call it, like LA slash Hollywood, gossip type websites about how abusive and, you know, R word he would be with women. A lot of women called him a jerk. A lot of people said that he tried to bail women up in his apartment and try and force them to undertake, the consensual one that is the R word. Yeah, he's just a piece of crap. They're saying here, he testified Pierce served him a vodka drink that tasted awful and made him feel immediately dizzy. Then he said Pierce brought out a batch of coke he deemed the good stuff. According to him, he said that the two women also tried the new supply, but in an instant, his nostrils were burning and he was in serious pain. He asked Pierce what he just snorted. In reply, he said he began laughing and looked like the devil personified right in front of me. Hours passed, and he said he lost count of how many times he vomited, and he noticed neither women were moving and that Giles or Christie didn't appear to be alive. How awful, right? What did he give to? What did he get? Must have been fentanyl or something. He apparently, according to Pearce, he said to him, "Dead girls don't talk." He said, "It's a phrase that's echoed in my nightmares and disturbs me." That is from I keep forgetting. We've got too many names tonight. No, that's from Michael. So he's saying that yeah, Pierce actually basically poisoned them all. Michael says he lost track of time as he got sicker in the apartment, but insisted that he urged Pierce to take the women to hospital. He says, "I felt incredibly weak, like it was taking over me. It was like a tranquilizer." He said of his reaction to the drink that Pierce had served him. A toxicology screen found gamma hydroxybutyrate, which is GHB. It's a date rape drug commonly referred to as GHB, and apparently they found it in the system of the women too. Yeah, so GHB is really sorry, I was about to swear. GHB is really messy. It's not something you should ever mix with alcohol because it amplifies the effects of GHB. It's a really nasty drug, and well, it's not nasty, but it's very easy to OD on it. Like I was telling you before, the doses are often dished out like 1 point something mil. It's the difference between, again, having fun and being unconscious is point 0.1, point 0.2 of a mil. That's the difference between having a lot of fun and falling asleep and snoring on a couch. And I can tell you, because when I was a naughty young kid, I did that. And I can tell you a few times I had too much and was found snoring on a couch, on a stool, on a few things. Um, Luckily, I'm a good boy now. I don't do any of that type of stuff. After checking Christie's pulse, Michael said he couldn't feel anything. He became concerned that Pearce wasn't going to do anything to help the women. No, he didn't. He basically went, "Yeah, let's put them to bed for 12 hours. Then, when we realize they really, really are dead, let's go dump them at a hospital." It's just ridiculous. Michael said Pearce was really only concerned about himself, mentioning his fear of prison time due to a past criminal record. He said, "I've had priors. This can't happen to me." Bro, what would have happened if you actually called an ambulance and at least showed some sort of duty of care? You probably wouldn't be sitting in a freaking trial for the loss of two lives. You would probably be going to court, probably for drug charges, maybe something for giving them the drugs, but not for what you're in now. At least you could have said, "I tried to help them." Trying to, you know, win over the jury by saying, "But I did CPR and I was such a nice man. I put them to bed with a bottle of water, a blanket, I put them on their side." That's not gonna fly. That's not gonna fly with the jury. They're still going to wonder why you shoved them into your car, drove them halfway across the other side of the city, and just rolled them out of your boot while you had no license plates on your vehicle. That shows no accountability. It shows you wanted to hide. Court records show the women were eventually taken to medical facilities nearly 12 hours later, driven in a car without license plate, which Michael said he saw Pearce remove from the car. They say Pearce and Osborne have denied all wrongdoing, and their attorneys were quick to point out that Michael's description of events inside the apartment changed significantly after his arrest in December 2021. They could all be involved for all we know. You got what, like three guys, two girls, maybe more people, and you're like, wow, these women are pretty hot. I wonder if they'll put out. And then you start feeding them drugs and GHB. Maybe there's more than one person involved. They say prosecutors did not offer Michael immunity in exchange for his testimony. Months after his arrest alongside Pearce and Osborne, he provided a statement through an attorney implicating the other men. You know what they say, whoever talks first gets the best deal. But he didn't get a deal, so sucked in. Michael was never charged with a crime, and it's not immediately clear if the LAPD ever presented a case against him. The DA's office says has not responded to inquiries about the case, including a request for public records that lay out the reasoning as to why any charges might have been declined. That's why he didn't get a deal because they didn't end up charging him. On cross examination, he admitted that during his first interview with LAPD, he said he never saw the women do drugs, nor did he paint a portrait of Pearce anywhere close to the way he described him on Friday. Why would a guy who's really, not doesn't have his back up against a wall, why would he go out of his way to paint someone the way they, in a different light? Michael said he didn't have a lawyer at the time and was rattled after being taken in by what he described as a SWAT team. He says, I was scared. I've never been in that situation before. I had no idea what to do. Defense attorney asked, so you lied? And he said, well, yeah, yeah, I lied. That's it for that. So I don't know. Who do you believe? Do you believe David Pearce's side of events saying that he was the good man who only did something wrong right at the end? Do you believe Michael saying that, wow, he was just an innocent party in all this, and that, you know, he told David, "Hey, you gotta take these women to hospital." I don't know, I feel like if anyone had any balls in this situation, you stand up and assert yourself. You're not locked in a cage, it's just an apartment. You can do whatever the hell you want. You can call an ambulance, you can call the cops, you can take women to hospital. You can do whatever you want as a grown adult. And I hope the jury sees that for, well, both of them. Michael not charged, but David is. I hope these people look at you in that way because you can't shrug responsibility like that. It's ridiculous. Can't just be like, yeah, man, I was doing so much GHB and I saw these two dead chicks on the couch. Like what did you do to help as well? Talkie walkie, that's right. Sean says, no, we're not going to talk about the Amsterdam. Blaze says they should have called 911. Do you know how many cases I've seen where if someone had just called an ambulance or the police, that they wouldn't be sitting in a courtroom, or if they were, there's a pretty good chance they'd get off? I think we've done about 15 of them in the last 12 months. Just call the ambulance. It's not hard. Do the right thing, get them to hospital, and let the doctors make the decisions. Don't you be like, yeah, I think if they could sleep for 12 hours, they'd be all right. That's not your decision to make. Just call the ambos. They'll know much more about the intoxication, how severe it is, what stage of, GHB overdose they might be in. They know much more than you do, and they know a way of maybe reversing it or how best to manage their path through the intoxication. So, just leave it up to the paramedics and the doctors. Don't be like dumping people like it's Bad Boys 2 out the front of a hospital. It's ridiculous. Um, he's effed. Well, maybe. It is awful that these two women, I think he's 40 now. So he's 40 now. He was in his late 30s when he was originally arrested. So he's 40 years old. So old enough to know better. I would say I'm that age. I'm 40. So we're the same age. I would say I would have known to do the right thing by the time I was probably about 30 years old. Maybe if I was in my 20s and this situation happened, maybe I would have done something similar. I wouldn't have dumped women at a hospital, but maybe I would have been very concerned about other things. But once I got into my 30s, I very much understood that you got to do the right thing and you got to help other people. It's very. What? Hold on. Guys, hold on. Sorry, guys. I had to ring the hospital and, they wanted me to give them verbal consent that they can send her home. I'm like, "Why do you need verbal consent to send her home?" I'm like, "Her mum's there with her. Can't she do it?" And they're like, "Nah, we need you to give us the consent." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, she can go home. It's fine. What do you think is happening here? Do you think I'm running some sort of DV situation or something?" I don't know. That's really weird because there is a grown adult with her. So yeah. Anyway, Rachel said to selfish to save lives, more worried about his own butt. I agree. Oh, is that what it is? Oh, that might be it. Okay, that might be it. Rachel, yes, to save more lives. Yeah. So you guys will have to tell me what you think about David Pearce and where you think. I reckon he's going to get nailed. I reckon the jury's not going to believe his childish antics that a 40-year-old should know better. Like I was trying to say to you before, I learned that you have to do the right thing years and years and years ago. In my early 20s, sure, I sort of get this situation maybe. Like, kids that young don't fully know what they're supposed to do. I could probably buy it, maybe. Even college age, that type of thing. But 40, like even 38, no. Like you've grown up by then. You're a grown person. You know what your responsibilities are. Doesn't matter if you got a pocket full of cocaine. I don't care. You still got to take care of the people that you have invited into your home, right? That's what it is. When you invite someone into your home, they're now sort of your responsibility. If something happens to them, you got to take care of them. And yeah, I hope they absolutely nail this guy. Flying DJ said, "Is Ping helping his name move bodies?" No, 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 that was when the fence broke. The fence, so we have like these tall fences, and on top they have like a privacy thing, they're like wood and they like slatted. They keep falling off and then falling onto the ground, and they're very, very heavy. So a 65-year-old, 70-year-old man can't hold that up and try and nail them back in at the same times. And I'm quite tall, so I always help them. But not today. Not today. I had to call the hospital. Apparently, they needed my permission to send her home. They're asking if you'll take care of her. Nah, no. Of course I will. Of course I will. April B said you should definitely know better at that age. Yes, I agree. I think that these excuses and trying to feign some sort of caring attitude through his testimony, I don't think is going to sway the jury. At least I don't think so. I think it's a very poor attempt. I've seen way better attempts by other people to try and, swing a jury. I don't know. I believe that he's going to get absolutely nailed by this jury. Just my opinion. I think he hasn't shown anything that really shows any remorse, shows any. So, what juries like and what judges like too, they like if you can show some sort of introspection into your crime. So, if you can be like, oh, well, this is what I did wrong. And in the future, I would do this differently. If you could show something like that, they do like that. Not that it will get you off, but it might get you a smaller sentence. But so far, I haven't seen anything like that from David. Nothing. Like most of it is more like excuses, more like things like trying to explain away his actions rather than accept responsibility and show how he might be a better person if it ever happened again. So it says here both women, Christy and Hilda, had been drugged with a fatal cocktail of fentanyl, ketamine, cocaine, heroin, MDMA, and GHB. That sounds like one of those, like, dance songs where they just name all the drugs. They're just, like, all of them. Uh, so I can tell you here that fentanyl, cocaine, heroin, and GHB is already just a monster bad combination, like, super bad. Like, you're not so this is what they call if you do this all together, this is what they call poly drug use. They call it so it's poly drug use, meaning many drugs, and there's rules to it. There's rules to doing poly, dosing, and the rules are you don't do more than 1 downer because, like yeah, it's just heroin, fentanyl, and GHB, and ketamine. Those poor girls would have been so just out of their mind, like, I can tell you as someone who may or may not have done ketamine when I was young, that stuff is mind warping. It just makes everything seem obscure, almost like a out of body experience, and you combine that with the other downers that they've already got here, then the only uppers they have are cocaine, MD, and yeah, that's it. So the coke and the MD won't do much. It is an upper, but not like it's not like meth. Meth is like a real upper. It'll keep you up for like 5 days. Um, the cocaine might, but it's short acting. So cocaine's very different in you have to continually take it. So coke only lasts about 45 minutes. It doesn't last very long. It's not a long acting drug, as where things like fentanyl, ketamine, MD, and heroin, and GHB. GHB is like a mid range. It lasts a while, but not that long. But MD can last up to 8 to 12 hours. The heroin, fentanyl, and the ketamine can last multiple hours each. The cocaine being the only one of the only uppers, really. It's only like 45 minutes. So these women are just pumped full of like every letter. Think of every bloody illicit drug there is. They basically had it in their system. I'm surprised they died from they're saying they died from the fentanyl or the GHB. I think they just died from the multiple drug use, which is understandable. There's a photo of the both of them. Very pretty ladies. Let's see. Can we get the cause of death? Hold on. Let me just look up what they actually put on the medical report for Christy. I remember we did a show and I just can't remember what it is. Oh, okay, yeah, it was that. So they put on the medical report multiple drug intoxication, and they died of organ failure and from multiple drug intoxication. So it was, yeah, from all the different, uppers, downers, this, that, and multiple things, and really just a horrible combination. Like no one who does recreational, like say like ravers or something, they would never do this on a weekend. I promise you. I've been around that scene for half my life, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone like link these things together throughout a weekend. Never, because they know that there's rules to this game, and to keep yourself safe, there's things you should do. Yeah, they left nothing out, right? The rules are you don't do it at all. Wow, that is true. That's why I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't I do vape. I do vape, but I got rid of smoking. But I haven't done anything like that. I don't even drink alcohol. I had one beer at the wedding. I haven't done this 15 years now or something. I completely got away with from all of it because it's really bad for you. Blaze says sounds like someone was trying to kill him. That's not a mix for at once. No, that might be like a multiple weekend thing. But not for like one night. That's insane. Really something I've never heard of before. Marjorie Morse. And then Lisa gifted one. It's like the gifting chain of memberships. It really does. I mean, some of these things that they were given, it really would mess with your mind, especially the ketamine. The ketamine and the GHB. I would never, not in a freaking million years, ever wanna do ketamine and G together, ever. Like, that is sorry, I thought that was her. I would never wanna do them together in a million years. That sounds like the worst night of my life. I would never wanna do that. Like, that just sounds awful. Um, they say the women passed out after ingesting the cocaine, fentanyl, and G supplied by Pearce. That's a weird combination. They say at noon on December 14th, Pearce told Osborne there's something wrong with Christie. He recalled she didn't look like she was breathing. He said he wanted to call 911 but was talked out of it by Pearce. Osborne said he put a pair of sunglasses under Giles' nose to test if she was breathing. He told the court that Christie was cold to the touch and not breathing. He said he did not check on Hilda at that point because Pearce told him she was asleep in the bed. What, after you R-worded her? Okay. The court heard Christie was already dead and that Hilda was barely breathing when Pearce and Osborne dumped them off at two separate LA hospitals. I'm not surprised. They say on returning home, Osborne told the court the only thing on my mind at that time was Mrs. Giles, Christie, and Hilda. I kept saying to myself, I hope these girls are okay. No, you don't get to claim secondary, sympathy or care. You can't do that. You can't be like, yeah. So I hopped into a car with no license plate, drove to two separate hospitals, dumped one girl, and then dumped the other. And, but I really kept saying to myself, I hope these girls are okay. No, you don't get to play that game. He said Pierce told him, listen, there's nothing we can do now. Let me buy you dinner. Yeah, because when I dump bodies at hospital, the next thing I really like to do is I like to go to and get some El Polo Loco. That's what I like to do. Osborne said he went to bed at 7 a.m. and woke at 10:30 a.m. to the sound of Michael violently puking in the bathroom. He then went to a bank before returning to the apartment and going back to bed. Yeah, I often like to go to a bank before, after I've had a huge drug weekend, I like to head to the bank and then go back to sleep. He said at 1 a.m., LAPD officers were banging on the apartment door, and Osborne said he saw Pearce attempting to climb out of the bedroom window. This is a guy that's trying to convey to you that he did the best he could for those women. And when the LAPD knocked, he tried to act like he was on a episode of Cops and jump out of a window. Doesn't say you know, someone who's willing to accept responsibility for their actions. Yeah. Here as well. At one point, while being held in a police cell with Pierce and Michael, Osborne referred to the women as fucking junkies. Osborne said he came to his harsh opinion after hearing the women talk about taking ketamine and doing a lot of drugs at the annual Burning Man festival held in the Nevada desert. Okay. The court heard from prosecutor Seth Carmack that that Osborne told a friend that he was upset at having to clean up the room that Giles had been in, or Christie. They say, was that because Christie was cold to the touch and not breathing and soiled the bed? Osborne, who responded, said, I guess so. The court heard a cell recording of Pearce telling Osborne, no one died at our place. Osborne can be heard responding, yeah, well, Christie did. Olson said he had no knowledge whatsoever of what drugs Pearce had given the two women. In addition to the murder charges, Pearce has been previously charged with the 7 counts of SA against a total of 7 victims spanning a 13-year period between '05 and 21. Brutal. Yeah, there's some more photos of the women. What a pretty girl. Yeah, there's the other one. There's Hilda. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think the jury is gonna side with him? Do you think that he's gonna be found not guilty? You would have to let me know. Or do you think it's gonna come back unanimous? Because they're in jury watch right now, right? Yeah, they're like, "Ping, you tell us. You're the one with the show." Yeah, hold on, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. I'm pretty sure they're in either final addresses or hold on, guys. Let me double check my notes. I got too many articles open here. Closing arguments continue today, so they must have finished that up because it is Friday tomorrow. And hold on. I'm guessing that they're done, or if they're not done, they're pretty close to it. So they'll go into verdict watch. You guys will have to let me know what you think. Whether you think that's going to be a quick verdict, are they gonna be like 3 hours and the verdict's going to be in? Is it going to be one that stretches like 5 days or something crazy? There's some photos of all of them. Better to avoid them all. Play all those recordings for a jury. I agree. Well, I think they did. That's what it said in the notes. C. Taylor says guilty for sure. April B says guilty, no doubt. I don't think the stuff I've read about the trial, I don't think he's put up a very good defense. I think his defense is pretty poor. I think him taking the stand and then allowed to be cross-examined didn't work out the way he thought he was going to be. I think they thought it was going to show him as a compassionate, very, trusting guy. Sure, I do drugs and I go to raves, but I'm a hardworking guy and very responsible. But I don't think it had the effect that they were hoping for because the way he answered questions it doesn't show that any remorse, any insight into his offending or whatever. It really doesn't show anything. It just shows a guy who's trying to wiggle his way out of you know going to jail for like 40 years. Yeah, I don't think it really shows what he thought it would. Here, let me just read the notes here. Closing arguments were set to continue on Thursday. Wait, what day is it? It's Friday here. Yeah, that must have mean it was Thursday over there. Let me double check because there's no update. Did they call off today? Sometimes, like, they do stuff like that. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna postpone it till like Thursday next week." All right, hold on, guys. What happened today? What happened today? $5 ago. Jury. Okay, the jury will begin deliberating tomorrow, Friday. Uh, okay, so apparently it's in the court across from where ASAP Rocky is in court. So you got these two big high-profile cases going on in LA at the moment. Okay, so from tomorrow, the judge will give his instructions to the jury, and he'll detail what they should and can't do, and any kind of questions. They'll send notes to him, and we'll get into verdict watch. Verdict watch from Friday for David Pearce and see if anyone's going to be held responsible for Christy and Hilda's death. I would hope so because I remember when I covered this case when it very first happened, and I remember one of the first reports was it was very small, and it said, uh, over the course of like half a day or whatever, two women were found at different LA hospitals, and everyone's like, "Whoa, That's really weird. Why would there be 2 different women dumped at 2 separate hospitals that both look like drug overdoses? And then it eventually came up that they were actually friends and they had been at a party together, and then everything started unraveling, and then we learnt about David Pearce. So Marlene said they got to get him off the streets. He is just a pig. Well, you can tell from his other charges that he seems to have no respect for women. And he just thinks that if a woman says no, that he can find ways with either drugs or coercion to get the prize that he wants from the woman. And I'm guessing that's probably what he was trying to do with Christy and Hilda. He was probably trying to drug them up so much that he could take advantage of them. Blaze says, I think he'll be found guilty. Do both men have the extra R word charges? I think it's just him. Just he has the extra 7. That's not 7, that's 2 ping. 7 R word charges. Yeah, this is 2. That's not 7. I hope so. I have to check tomorrow to see whether they're being sequestered or not. I haven't seen anything about that yet, whether they're going to get sequestered or because what happens is if you have a trial that ends on Thursday and they go into verdict or whatever you want to call it, deliberations on Friday, oftentimes they often don't even do it on a Friday. They'll just say, "Oh, you're now officially in deliberations. You can't talk to anyone, whatever. We're going to send you home." And then first thing on Monday, you get, a fresh start, Monday to Friday. You get as many days as you want, and you'll start your deliberations on Monday morning because it takes a while to go through the instructions and what they can do, what they should look for, where they get evidence from, if they want to recall anything. Those things to the jury take a little while. So we'll see whether they hold them for the weekend and make them deliberate over the weekend, or if they're just going to send them home. It happens either. I've seen both. Depends what the judge wants. Let me just double check whether they've already put that out. Murderer, double murderer. Okay. Sequestered. I don't see anything yet. Maybe they'll talk about it tomorrow on Friday morning. I don't see anything. So, yeah, maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. Oh, no. All right, Mrs. Ping's going to be here in a minute, actually. Hey, Juicy Jules, how are you? All right, let me double check. All right, let me see if I can find anything on David Pearce so I can play it for you. Court TV, we can't play. All right, I'm going to take you back to July 2022, back when he was first charged, okay? Uh, Wait till I turn it on. There we go.
2 men have been charged in the case of a model and her friend who overdosed and were then dumped outside local hospitals. Our KCAL 9's Candace Cohn live in downtown LA with the charges now. And Candace, I understand the DA's office has found more potential victims.
That's right. And these charges come nearly 8 months after Christy Giles and Hilda Cabrales Arzola were left for dead at area hospitals. Now, since the incident, authorities say that more potential victims have come forward, and they think that more are still out there.
It's been a long time coming, and I'm just very happy that charges are finally being filed.
Jan Cillier says not a day goes by where he doesn't think about his wife, 24-year-old Christy Giles, a model, and her architect friend, 26-year-old Hilda Cabrales Arzola. Authorities say both women died of overdoses after being dumped at separate hospitals last November following a night out. Today, LA County District Attorney George Gascon announced 40-year-old David Pearce has been charged with murder in connection with the women's deaths. 42-year-old Brent Osborne has also been charged as an accessory after the fact.
We knew that this was going to be a lengthy investigation. and we started with the charges that we knew that we could prove, and those had to do with the using of the administration of drugs.
Prosecutors initially declined to file charges against the men. Pearce has been jailed on separate sex assault accusations. DA Gascon wouldn't comment on the specifics of the case other than to say that during their investigation, additional information came out. Authorities say 7 more women have since come forward claiming Pearce sexually assaulted them as well.
During the process, we made public that we were looking for other victims, and we have 7 additional victims that have come forward, and cases are being charged, and they date through a period of 13 years.
To me, honestly, isn't surprising. It sounds like he's been at this for years, and that's kind of what he does.
Authorities say the suspects gave the women drugs and went back to this apartment on Olympic Boulevard in LA. Shortly after, their bodies were dumped outside 2 different hospitals where they were eventually pronounced dead.
Honestly, there's never going to be justice for this. Our lives are changed permanently. Like, there's nothing that's ever going to bring them back. With them off the street, everyone else is going to be safer. So
Well, at least women in LA might be a touch safer with him behind bars. That is very true. The fact that his victim list could be a mile long and they've only found a few of them, who knows? It could be way worse than anything we already know about it. Hey, I hope you're having a good night here on Nights with Ping. How are you all? It's a very sad case, I know. Very, very sad. Hopefully we get some justice though. Is that your new bird, Sean? The yellow one? I see a yellow one in your photo. Yeah, very, very sad case. Yeah, it is a waste of life. Those 2 girls, one of them was a model. So, it sounds like they were trying to live their lives, and they met the wrong people out at a rave. The wrong people. All right, let me close some tabs. I got far too many open. Sorry, I'm keeping an ear out for her. All right, let me close that. Get rid of that guy's face. All right. Actually, I wonder if we can find the old rumor thing that was around. There was this old website that had all these rumors about him. I wonder if we could find it anymore. Maybe not. Let me have a quick look. It was this weird gossip website. Yeah, give me one sec. Oh, dude. I don't think I can find it anymore, unfortunately. But there was this website that had all these type of women that were commenting on it, saying he tried to take me home to his apartment, and then he tried to R-word me. That guy's a jerk, and he used me for S, and stuff like that. And so many girls know about him at the clubs that he can't come to the clubs anymore. There was just relentless how many women had commented on this particular some sort of weird celebrity, gossip website thing. I'm just having a quick look. I don't think I can find it, unfortunately. No, it's probably been buried, unfortunately. Yeah, it looks like it's either no longer around or it's not being brought up in the search results anymore. But yeah, it was one of the first clues we had that this guy was a bit of a user of women. Sean says he won't stop if set free. I do agree. Love a weird gossip site. Just looking for the email. What? No, I had the website saved on my list, but it's not there anymore. I can't remember. I don't know if they shut it down or it's just because when you have a trial come out, like every news agency in the world does an article and it floods the search results, because when this first happened and they were dumped and then their names first came out, there was very little media about it. So it was much easier to do some digging into the background of David Pearce. Now it's a lot harder because there's just so many websites that have him as a tag name. Let me see. Yeah, David Pearce. What about this? No, I don't. No, unfortunately. Doesn't look like it. Hold on. 24 minutes ago. This is not the website I was looking for. They say prosecutors cemented their damning case for murder and R-word against Hollywood producer David Pearce and his co-accused roommate on Thursday in a forceful closing argument. In a blistering summation to the jury, counsel Seth Carmack said, "Sinister Pearce will R-word, cheat, lie, and if he needs to, will murder." He highlighted the shady and manipulative lying things Pearce had done to women, describing him as a person who does not care about anyone but himself. I think I'd have to agree with that summation. They say he's a former child actor. He told the court he attempted to resuscitate Chrissy. I don't think so. And Hilda prior to them tragically dying after a wild night fueled by alcohol and drugs. Don't know if I believe him. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah. Apparently, according to the prosecution, they believe the deaths were no accident, and they believe that they were forcefully given these drugs to take advantage of them. And then, yeah, they died. Very pretty girls. What does it say here? Oh, yeah, this is that old video. Let's have a look. This is them dancing at a club. It's very, very dark, like most nightclubs are. Guessing that's her there in the middle. There she is. Yeah, doing some sort of a hair twirl. They should make a PSA. They're like, kids on drugs. You might twirl your hair. There you go. An old video of her. What do they say here? Court heard testimony that Pearce snorted cocaine off a woman's genitals and ejaculated on the face of Jane Doe 1. This is one of his accusers of SA, not Chrissy and Hilda. This is a Jane Doe that accused him of SA. Snorted cocaine off her hairless cat and ejaculated on her face. Okay. What the fuck? Voss recalled his client saying his apartment was a drug den, but there was no evidence he gave drugs to the two women who died. Oh, yeah, all right. Voss said evidence had shown both women had a lot of fentanyl in their systems, but Pearce hadn't supplied it. He admitted Pearce pursued an alternative lifestyle and referenced the Eagles' famous line, "Life in the fast lane. It's a sinner's lifestyle. That's just the way it is," he added. There was no intent. There was no indent. There was no indent to kill. There was no intent to kill because he didn't give them the drugs, according to this guy. They say sometimes justice deserves a not guilty verdict. This must be the defense. No, I don't think so. I hope it doesn't come back as a not guilty. I'm Australian, so I don't have to abide by your laws, so I can say what I want. But yeah, Hilda and Chrissy deserve some justice, and I hope we get that very quickly. Maybe like Monday. That would be great. That would be really good. Is this him there? David Pearce? Yeah, there he is. Oh, what a weirdo. Yeah, there he is. I don't know what else to tell you, except for I hope these two ladies, I hope their families can get something. Sean said a serial offender. Yeah. One was an architect. One was a model, right? That's pretty cool. It's called mouth to mouth for a reason. Oh yeah. All right, let's see what else I got on my list of stories. What time is it? Oh, it's like 4 o'clock. Okay. I think I got an update on the 2 missing kids. 2 children. Let me load that up. All right, let's go to WABC in New York. Stop that. This is a different story, but that's okay.
Other news of the night, a family horror in New Jersey. A woman and 2 young children killed in what's being described as a case of domestic violence. Police have a man in custody. They say he tried to stab himself. New Jersey reporter Tony Yates has the story from Jersey City, where authorities are working to try and comfort neighbors shaken by the violence.
Investigators have just moments ago released the names of the victims. They are 31-year-old Luisa Urbano, her 9-year-old son Juan, and her 5-year-old daughter. There was also another man found in the apartment with self-inflicted wounds. His name is Romero Andre. He's being treated at the hospital for those wounds. This investigation still very much in its early stages.
Yeah, there was some screaming going on because that's when the activities, I guess there was some discovery of the kids and the mom, and there was some screaming outside.
This is cell phone video as a second wave of police officers rushed to the basement apartment where the woman and 2 children were found fatally stabbed. We stopped the video before one officer is seen carrying one of the children. Right now, authorities are not describing the relationship between the children, the woman, and the suspect, only that this was a domestic violence tragedy.
I saw blood on the floor, and I saw them carry out a girl, unconscious, from the lower level.
The man that police took into custody is described by neighbors as a family member. They tell us not the father of either child. The suspect, according to authorities, had stabbed himself.
He was just out of it, He wanted to hurt himself, and once you get to that point, all your mental faculties and capacity is gone. There's nothing you can say to him.
A couple of people also described hearing prior issues within the family in at least one of the units where some of the members live.
You can hear a lot of stuff to happen to the doors, and the walls are really skinny, so you can hear a lot of stuff too. But yeah, to be honest, I'm surprised about that.
So far, no motive. The death of the children hitting tenants especially hard.
What the hell? We always hear these DV cases, but where they often involve children. They're just terrible. They're saying here a woman and 2 young children were stabbed to death in New Jersey early Thursday morning. They say Jersey City police took a suspect who had attempted to self-harm into custody, according to WABC. It's not clear who called the police to the basement apartment around 1 a.m., but they found the woman and a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old already dead, and they also found an apartment window broken when they arrived. They say the city Jersey mayor said the incident was related to DV. No names or charges have been announced so far, but the mayor says police are working with Hudson County PA or PO, and that chaplains and social workers were on the scene of the crime. Oof, what the hell? These poor kids, man. We've had so many kids cases in the last week, like a billion of them. We had those missing children uh, that were killed. I think the father killed the mom. I think that's the one that DJ was following the other night. And then there was Sammy Schaefer Jr., 36. That one was the other day. A strange husband accused of hiring a hitman. There's been a bunch of them. It's really, really awful. Let me get you an update on the one in, I think it's California. Hold on. One day ago, where California? Yeah, it's this one. Good work thing. Here we go. go to KTLA. They're saying 2 young sisters who were taken from their home in Kings County by their father after he allegedly killed their mother have been located, according to California Highway Patrol. It's 2 girls, 3 years old, Ira, and 2-year-old Alana. They were both subject to an Amber Alert that was sent out to mobile devices across Southern California, or SoCal, Wednesday morning. There's a photo of the 2 cute girls. They say their father, Jonathan, 23, is believed to have shot and killed his ex, the girl's mother, at a home in Hanford located 200 miles north of LA. Family members identified the victim as 22-year-old Madeline Rose, and I'm not going to pronounce the last name because I'm going to screw it up, but her name was Madeline Rose. Hanford is the suburb, according to KTLA sister station KC. Authorities were concerned that Cruz may have fled the country, taking the 2 young girls with him to Mexico. On Thursday, California Highway Patrol canceled the Amber Alert for both of the girls, announcing they had been located safe and sound. And here's Jonathan Cruz here, 23, accused of killing his ex-partner. They say the Kings County Sheriff's Department said the 2 girls were safe and their father was taken into custody with the help of state and federal law enforcement partners. The investigation is ongoing. So, no charges right now, but the investigation into the death of their mother and the kidnapping of these 2 is ongoing. Rachel said, sadly, it sounds like the violence, neighbors had heard violence before. The one in New York or New Jersey, yeah, it does definitely sound like they knew of issues. Yeah, hey, Glitter. April B says, thank God they're safe. I know, right? No more dead kids. Too many dead children. All right, let me go here. I want to find this one from KOMV. Yes, here.
Tonight, the efforts to seek justice for a murdered Metro East woman continue. It has been a week since Portia Rowland was killed in her Collinsville driveway in what police say was a murder for hire scheme. Now, the people accused in that murder facing a judge for the first time. Our Shoshana Stahl joins us live outside the Madison County Courthouse in Edwardsville. Shoshana.
Corey, today, 2 of the men charged in Portia Rowland's murder making their first appearance in court here in Madison County today. No cameras were allowed inside of the courtroom, but I sat in looking at Sammy Schaefer and Gary Johnson for the first time. A memorial for Portia Rowland continues to grow outside her Collinsville home, the same place she was shot and killed 1 week ago in a murder-for-hire scheme police say was orchestrated by her girlfriend's soon-to-be ex-husband.
What they took away from so many people, just that light that brightened everybody's day.
Today, this man, Sammy Schaefer, the one who investigators say paid $10,000 for Portia to be killed, made his first court appearance. He walked in with shackles around his ankles and wrists, letting his attorney, Scott Rosenblum, do most of the talking. Rosenblum asked the judge for Schaefer's detention hearing to be held next week, allowing him more time to look at the evidence.
We look forward, obviously, to entering a plea of not guilty and challenging that evidence.
Schaefer's parents were in the courtroom today to support him. The state is asking for him to be kept in jail for the entirety of the trial.
You know, I'm realistic. Just the charges itself, in my experience in this county.
I think if you're accused of a murder for hire, that, you deserve it. You deserve to be kept in jail the whole time. Guys, give me 1 sec. I have to let her in. Hold on. Hey guys, sorry. I don't know what's taking so long. They're just yapping outside. She's all right. She's here. I'm just bringing all her stuff in. She's just talking to her mom. So yeah, I appreciate it if you do. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go. It's really late for everyone, and she just got home. So she's been in hospital for like 2 days, and I gotta go unpack everything. So she asked me to bring like the world to her. So I'm gonna go for the night. It was fun being on at 10:30. I really appreciate it. Thank you to the people who sent in donations. That is very kind. And I'll be back tomorrow at our normal time for Friday night. All right. Hey, I love you all. I'll see you then. Yeah. Bye. Bye bye.